So I'm 21 years old, walking into a building to share my story with a group of police officers, the K-9 unit, just a bunch of brave men and women with even braver dogs. And I'm terrified because all I'm thinking is, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to think of all of this? As I walk up to the door, I notice an officer, and he's limping, dragging his foot just like me. So I muster up some courage, and I decide to approach him. And as I do, I say, "Sir, I just wanted to let you know that I have a limp just like you. I had a stroke when I was 15. And seeing you out here doing one of the bravest jobs in the world, well, it gives me great courage." And he turned to me, and he looked at me with the kindest, sweetest eyes I have ever seen. And what he said to me that day, I will never forget. He turned to me and he said, "Young lady, I just stepped in dog poop and I'm trying to get it off my shoe." And that pretty much sums up my life. Hi, I'm Kelsey, and no, I didn't step in dog poop. My limp is for real, only I call it swagger. And you may think I'm slurring my speech, but I'm not. I'm just talking in cursive. And I know I'm paralyzed on my right side, but that's okay, because I've always liked leftovers. But let me take you back to when I was 15. I felt like I was on top of the world. I was a world champion wakeboarder, ranked 3rd in the world, a varsity lightweight rower, tall, funny, pretty, and talented, and I felt invincible, especially because I had survived a brain tumor at the age of 5. I was the miracle child. So one day I'm in class studying algebra and wondering if that cute boy a few rows ahead likes me. And the next day I get a bad taste in my mouth. My face turns all red and I can't speak. It lasts about 5 seconds. Then a few days later it happens again, then again, well, again. I know something's wrong, but I don't tell anybody. I try to hide it. But then one day my sister sees it happen in class and she tells my parents. My parents, they take me back to see those doctors who order another MRI, and there on the MRI was my brain tumor. My brain tumor had come back after being gone for 10 years. In fact, I'll never forget the day my parents brought me into their bedroom, sat me down and told me my brain tumor was back. We cried. Somehow we were back here again. I went to go have surgery 10 years to the day of the first surgery, June 14th, 1996, and June 14th, 2006, by the same neurosurgeon and the same anesthesiologist in the same hospital 10 years to the day. But this time, I didn't wake up invincible. When I woke up, I couldn't move my arm, or my hand, or my leg, or my foot. I was completely paralyzed on the right side of my body. And as I lie there, unable to move, I heard someone say the word stroke, and I started to scream. Stroke? I can't have a stroke. I'm 15 years old. I'm an athlete. What are you talking about? But no one could hear me, because not only was I completely paralyzed on the right side of my body, but I couldn't speak either. And in that moment, as I lie there, unable to move and unable to speak, my world started to become very dark. Enter weeks and weeks of living in a hospital bed. A new normal I didn't ask for, a new body I hated. But even in all that darkness, there were moments of light. Like the doctor who put down the chart just to sit with me and hold my hand. Or the oncology tech who always took 5 minutes to make me laugh before we started radiation. Or the nurse who cleaned up that embarrassing bathroom moment at 2 a.m. when I dreamt I was on the toilet and wet the bed. Or the nurse who remembered I said I didn't want my head shaved for my brain tumor surgery and made sure they just shaved a small little sliver. The way they cared not just for me, but for my family as well. Those moments weren't medical, they were human, and they healed me in ways medicine couldn't. Recently, I wrote a poem about one of these moments, about the patient experience. In English, we call it truly caring for the patient. In poetry, from the patient perspective, it's that moment in time when nothing is fine. As you sit in a hospital shower with water beating down, you look down at your stomach It's descended. You look pregnant. Then you remember you can't move your legs and you start to cry. With tears in your eyes, you look up at your nurse. She smiles at you, tells you it's okay. You're going to get better, and everything's going to be all right. And you believe her. That moment, that kind of care is the reason I'm standing here today. The kindness of strangers who didn't just help heal my body, they helped heal my heart. And sometimes I think that's the part that gets forgotten. If you're listening and you work in healthcare, please, let me be the one to remind you how much the work you do matters. You are someone's light in the dark. In all those months and months of rehab after I had a stroke, I thought I had already been through the hardest moments. Going through all those physical challenges, well, I was an athlete. I was built for physical challenges. But there was a much harder challenge waiting ahead, the mental one. After a few months, it was time for me to go back out into the real world. And nothing, I mean nothing, was harder than going back to school. Before I had a stroke, I was the popular athlete. After my stroke, I was the girl in the wheelchair with the crooked arm. People didn't know how to treat me, so mostly they didn't. I lost every friend I had. I couldn't have felt more alone. But I'll never forget the day that I got to go to school without my cane. After going from wheelchair to walker and walker to cane, walking on my own was such a victory, better than any gold medal. Especially because I thought, well, now people will accept me. But it didn't change the way they saw me. Now I was just the girl with the crooked arm and the limp. I still looked different. I still felt different. But then I realized something. If I wear sweatshirts or hoodies like this with deep pockets, I could hide my arm and hand completely, swallow my limp, and just like that, the proof of my broken body disappeared. And so did I. Every hallway, every photo, every classroom, every day, for 10 years, this is how I showed up to the world. It takes a lot of energy to hide who you are, for who you think you're supposed to be. The truth about myself that I carried with me every day was that I was a freak. Maybe you know the feeling. Maybe you're hiding something in your own pocket that you're too afraid to share with the world because you're afraid that people won't love or accept you if they know. Because paralysis isn't just physical. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's the story we tell ourselves that hides us more captive than a wheelchair. But the story isn't over yet, because the kindness of strangers wasn't over. And I'll never forget the moment where someone who loved me enough to tell me the truth said, "Kelsey, the way you see yourself is not the way the world sees you. Yes, people notice your arm and your hand, of course they do. But that just lasts a second. That's not what they remember. They remember your humor, your grit, your strength, your kindness, your wisdom. You think your arm and hand are the headline, but to the rest of us, they're just a footnote in an extraordinary story." And Kelsey, you keep looking for love in the world, but you can't attract the love you crave if you don't start by loving yourself first. You're not a freak. You're a whole, brave, beautiful person. And the only one who can't see that is you. That moment cracked something open in me. It didn't automatically change the way I saw myself, but it was the first time I remember thinking, what if I've been wrong about me? And so I asked you listening, what if you've been wrong about you? Before my stroke, wakeboarding was my favorite sport. It's where I felt most free. Out on the water, skimming the surface of a world where nothing could touch me. The waves didn't just hold me up, they held everything I loved about myself. That board was the place where all my problems disappeared. But that was before. Having a stroke slammed the door on that dream, hard. But being an athlete, I refused to give up on pushing myself. After I learned to walk again, I learned to run, then swim, then play tennis, and even tried other sports. But nothing made me happy. Nothing felt like me. Then someone said, well, what about snowboarding? So I found an adaptive snowboard program. Day one, I fell so hard my kneecap almost popped out of place. My tailbone was purple. I should have quit, but I didn't. Day two started out even harder. I had pain in body parts I didn't know existed. But then, about 2 hours and 3 bruises in, something amazing happened. With my feet strapped into that board and my instructor behind me, I didn't fall going down that mountain, I flew. In a blink, I became weightless. I glided through the snow on a mountain that didn't care how I walked. Down there, I was uneven, but up here on my mountain, I was free. Time stopped as I flew through the sun-glittered snow, and for once, I didn't hide my hand. Every turn felt like letting go, as I felt my story being rewritten. When I got to the bottom, I knew I was different. I was bolder. I was stronger. I remember thinking, it's time to stop hiding. I don't need this anymore, because this is who I am now. Not hiding, not shrinking, not apologizing, just swaggering. Yes, you will notice my arm and my limp first, but that's not the story about me you'll remember. And if you don't like me, well, just keep walking. The loss is yours. Someone once asked me what I would say to myself if I could go back in time and whisper into the ear of that scared 15-year-old girl in the hospital bed. And I knew instantly without even thinking about it. I would tell her, this is going to be one of the best things that's ever happened to you. And I would mean it. These things that came to hurt you will become the things that make you invincible. What I didn't realize back then is that adversity isn't something to hide. Adversity can actually be our competitive advantage. So no matter what you're facing, I encourage you to focus on what it gives you rather than what it takes away. When I got to the bottom of the mountain that day, I was never the same. Oh, my life still has painful moments in it. I still cry in my closet sometimes. I still battle the voice in my head that says that I'm not enough. And on occasion, I still reach for my hoodie and stick my hand back in my pocket. But then I get back up on my mountain. And each time I do, it gets a little easier. Because life is so much better loving me than hating me. Some of you in this room are facing bigger challenges than I've ever faced. Some of you are still in a hospital bed facing a new normal you never asked for. Some of you haven't found your mountain yet. Some of you are already flying down the other side. But here's what I hope all of you will hear. The biggest thing standing between you and the life you want isn't physical, it's mental. It's the story you're telling yourself. So what about you? Is it time to stop hiding and change your story? Maybe today's the day you get your swagger back. Thank you.